Okay, now we're going to see how do we record the journal entry when we are selling the fixed asset before end of useful life. Okay, in example 6, a machine is purchased on 1st of January 2015 with a price of 25,000. Okay, the estimated useful life is 5 years and there is no salvage value. And given in the question, the machine is depreciated using straight line method, and on January 1st, 2017, the machine is sold for 20,000. So as you can see here, the machine was bought on 2015 and the salvage value is 2015. That means this asset will be depreciated for 5 years. But on 1st of January 2017, the machine is already sold. So that means the asset was sold before the end of the useful life. And it is already given in the question, the machine is using straight line method. So the first thing we need to do is we need to calculate the depreciation expense for 1 year. Okay, the question is silent. That means it is using monthly basis. But the selling date is on 1st of January 2017. That means that is on the first day of 2017. So we don't need to record any depreciation expense for the year of 2017 because the selling date is between 1st until 15 of the month. And for 2015 and 2016, the account is already closed. That means the depreciation expense was already recorded during the closing date. Okay, so now we see the depreciation expense for 1 year is $5,000. Okay, so you are still using the same method that we used earlier, that is the straight line method. So 25,000 minus 0 salvage value, okay, divide by 5, so you get 5,000 depreciation expense for 1 year. So the accumulated depreciation is only for 2 years because we only have depreciation expense for 2015 and 2016. So that means the accumulated depreciation is only 10,000 ringgit. Okay, so are we getting any loss or gain for the transaction? Okay, so we are selling the machine for the price of 20,000. Okay, so the cash received is 20,000. Then we'll minus the book value. So the asset cost is 25,000, and as you calculated earlier, the accumulated depreciation is 10,000. So that means you'll get the book value of 15,000. So you'll get 5,000 of gain on disposal. Okay, so how do we record the transaction? Okay, since the selling of the asset is on the 1st of January 2015, so we need to record the journal on the 1st of January 2017. Sorry. Okay. Okay, so as you can see here, we will debit cash 20,000 ringgit. That is the amount that you receive upon the selling, okay, the disposal of the asset. And then we will close the accumulated depreciation account. So how much do I need to record for my accumulated depreciation account? It is based on what you've calculated earlier. Okay, so in this accumulated depreciation account, as you calculated earlier, the amount is 10,000. So that means that's the latest amount of your accumulated depreciation. So if I were to close the account, the amount that I need to close is 10,000 ringgit. Okay, and the asset is 25,000. So if I were to close the account for the machine, it will be 25,000. Okay, so as you can see here, that is why we debit accumulated depreciation of the machine with the amount of 10,000 ringgit, and we credit machine with the amount of 25,000 ringgit. And this is the cash that you receive. That means on the debit side, you have a total of 30,000 ringgit. Okay, but on the credit side, you only have 25,000. Okay, so to match up the value so that the journal will be balanced, okay, you need to add up 5,000 ringgit on the credit side. Okay, so since it's on the credit side, that means it is gain on disposal. Okay, if the amount that you need to balance up your journal is on the debit side, that means that is loss on disposal. Okay, so now let's see if the same machine, okay, is purchased on 1st of January, okay, 2015 as well, and the price of the asset is 25,000. The useful life is 5 years, and there is no salvage value. Okay, still using straight line method, but on this question, the asset was sold on 1st of January 2018, 1 year before, 1 year later. Okay, from question A. Question A, the selling was on 1st of January 2017. But for question B, the selling date is January 1st, 2018. And the machine is sold for 8,000 ringgit by check. So we are not going to debit cash, but we're going to debit bank instead. Okay, so same thing. Before I do the journal for this disposal, I need to bring the accumulated depreciation to the date. That means I need to update the latest amount for accumulated depreciation. Itu langkah pertama. Alright, so I need to calculate the depreciation expense for 1 year. Okay, my depreciation expense for 1 year is 5,000. Okay, alright. So since we are selling the asset on 1st of January 2018, that means the asset was already depreciated for 3 years. 2015, okay, 2015, 2016, and 2017. So all these 3 years, the account was already adjusted during the closing date. So we have 3 years of accumulated depreciation. So on the year of the disposal, 2018, okay, we won't do any adjustments because the selling date is between 1st until 15th of January. Okay, so the accumulated depreciation, as you can see here, is 5,000 multiply by 3. Okay, so the accumulated depreciation is 15,000. So if I were to journalize the disposal, okay, so my asset account will be closed at the amount of 25,000, and my accumulated depreciation will be closed at the amount of 15,000. Okay, alright, so you can see here, okay, we need to calculate the gain or loss. Okay, if we do not want to use the formula or the outside calculations to calculate the gain and loss, it's okay. You can still use the journal entry to calculate whether you are getting any gain or loss. Okay, so cash received berapa? Alright, so we receive 8,000. Kita jual RM8,000. Alright, so we minus with our book value. Alright, so the book value is the asset cost, that is 25,000, and then you will minus with the latest accumulated depreciation, that is 15,000. So here you'll get 5,000. Sorry, here you'll get 10,000. Okay, so you get your cash receipt minus by 10,000, you'll get 2,000 ringgit. Okay, and that 2,000 ringgit is actually a loss because your answer is in bracket negative, right? Okay, so since it's a loss, that means if you journalize the transaction, the 2,000 ringgit will be on the debit side because it is loss. It is considered as expenses, mengurangkan untung bersih. So the item will be debited. Okay, alright. So how do you journalize the transaction? Okay, the transaction is done on the disposal date, that is 1st January 2018. Okay, alright, so as you can see here, okay, we will debit bank 8,000 because the payment was made by check. Okay, and you need to close the accumulated depreciation to the date. Okay, as you calculated earlier, your accumulated depreciation is 15,000. So I will debit accumulated depreciation with the amount of 15,000. Okay, and I will close the machine account because we are selling the asset. So we will credit machine with the amount of 25,000. So as you can see here, okay, let's say you haven't calculated the loss. This 2,000 ringgit, you haven't calculated the loss. So you can see here on the debit side, you have 23,000. Whereas on the credit side, you have 25,000. So you have a shortage of 2,000 ringgit on the debit side. So that amount is actually your loss on disposal. So even without the calculation outside of the journal, you can still calculate whether you are getting any loss or gain on disposal. Okay, so this is how you record the disposal of the asset, okay, before the end of the useful life. Okay, so now we're going to see how we journalize our transaction if we are doing a trade-in. Okay, so in the question, normally you are given an amount that is called a trade-in value. What is a trade-in value? Okay, trade-in value ataupun nilai tukar ganti is something that the buyer of the old asset give you as an allowance to reduce the amount that you need to pay. Okay, so awak kena ingat, the trade-in value is actually not in cash, bukan dalam bentuk tunai. Tapi trade-in value ialah nilai yang diberi ataupun yang nilai yang pembeli aset kita ambil, dan nilai itu akan digunakan untuk mengurangkan harga aset baru yang anda beli. Contoh, saya ada lori buruk. So I want to trade in with a lori baru. So that lori baru is 10,000. So my lori buruk, okay, was sold to the lori seller. Okay, seller tu sendiri nak ambil lori buruk saya tu. So let's say he wants to take my lori at the price of 2,000 ringgit. So that 2,000 ringgit won't be paid to me. Dia tak akan bayar. But that 2,000 will be deducted from the price of my new lorry. So instead of paying 10,000 ringgit for the lorry, I cuma akan bayar 8,000 saja. Because that 2,000, okay, the price of the old lorry is actually your trade-in value. Okay, so to calculate the gain or loss, if we are doing a trade-in, so we need to take the trade-in value and we need to minus with the book value. Okay, all right. So how do we get the trade-in value? So the price of the new asset, you'll minus with the cash paid, and then you'll minus with the book value. Book value, as usual, is the old asset minus the latest accumulated depreciation. Okay, so how do I know how much I need to pay or how much I need to top up? Okay, so macam contoh Madam bagi tadi, lori baru 10,000. Okay, dia ambil lori lama saya 2,000. So this is trade-in value. Alright, this is the new asset cost. So how much do I need to pay? Okay, the difference of this is 8,000. So maksudnya Madam tak perlu bayar full amount. I only need to pay 8,000 only. So this is my cash paid. So cash paid is the new asset cost minus the trade-in value. Okay, all right. Okay, we look at this question. Okay, the company trade in an old machine with a new machine on December 31st, 2010. Okay, so the transaction took place in 2010. Okay, alright. Cost of the new asset, okay, harga aset baru 8,000. Alright. Cost of the old asset is 20,000. This is the cost of the old asset. So when you want to close the old asset account, the item will be credited at the amount of 20,000. Okay, yearly depreciation dia dah bagi, so you don't need to calculate. Okay, so 1 year is 5,000 ringgit. Okay, and the accumulated depreciation until the date of the disposal is 15,000. Okay, so ini jumlah sehingga 31 hari bulan 12 2010. So you are already given the amount. So tak perlu kira how many years, sebab in this question we are not given the date of the purchase for the old machine. So awak tak tahu berapa tahun mesin tu telah digunakan, mesin lama. So I cannot calculate the accumulated depreciation. That's why the amount is already given. Okay, alright. So trade-in value ialah 4,000. So I nak jual mesin lama, I nak beli mesin baru, and toke kedai tu nak ambil mesin lama saya pada harga 4,000. So that amount is used to reduce the amount that I need to pay to the seller. Okay, so how do I record the transaction? Okay, first of all, you are already given the depreciation expense 5,000, and you already have the accumulated depreciation that is already given to you until 31st of December. Okay, this is until 31st of December 2010. Okay, 15,000. So for 1 year, okay, this is 5,000. But as you can see in the question, it is silent. It doesn't mention whether they are using monthly basis or yearly basis. So this is actually monthly basis. So when it is monthly basis, that means on the year of the depreciation, you still need to declare the depreciation expense. Mesti kira juga, sebab ini ialah monthly basis. So walaupun dia dah bagi tahu the accumulated depreciation is 15,000, but still awak kena faham for the year 2010 depreciation expense belum declare. So bila belum declare, that amount tidak akan dimasukkan ke dalam accumulated depreciation. So that is why when we are using monthly basis, before we generalize the transaction for disposal, the first thing you need to catat, okay, the first thing that you need to generalize is the journal entry for depreciation expense. Okay, so my first transaction, on the 31st of December 2010, here is debit depreciation expense and credit accumulated depreciation with the amount of 5,000. Okay, why am I doing this? Sebab saya guna monthly basis. So monthly basis, I kena kira hingga the day of the transaction. Okay, alright. So saya jual 31st December. That means the item is reused for 12 months, 12 upon 12. So it's 5,000 per year, right? Okay, pernah catat tak depreciation untuk 2010? Tak pernah. So you kena catat dulu. Sebab from the journal, then only the amount will be taken to the, will be posted to the ledger. Okay, even though they already calculated the 15,000 for you, okay, for the accumulated depreciation, but still you need to declare your depreciation expense for that year. Baru boleh dianggap 5,000 ni dah masuk dalam 15,000 tadi. Okay, alright. So now back to the calculation for the gain and loss. Alright, so kita kena cari kita punya trade-in value tadi. Okay, so your trade-in value dia bagi dalam soalan is 4,000. Okay, and then we need to minus with the book value. Okay, book value ialah nilai aset lama, the old asset, okay, minus the accumulated depreciation. So the old asset is 20,000, okay, and the accumulated depreciation that is given in the question is 15,000. So my gain or loss is actually what? Okay, as you can see here, your trade-in value is 4,000, but your book value is 5,000. That means I get a loss on disposal with the amount of 1,000 ringgit. So how much actually I need to pay to get the new machine? Okay, asset baru given in the question, the price is 8,000 ringgit, and that seller wants to buy my old asset with the amount of 4,000 ringgit. So that actually is your trade-in value. Okay, so 8,000 ringgit minus 4,000. Okay, so the amount that you need to top up, berapa yang kamu kena tambah bila you beli aset baru, will be 4,000 ringgit. Okay, so this 4,000 won't be debited, bukan debit, sebab you bukan terima duit, but you need to pay. So that means that 4,000 will be credited in your journal. So how do I do the journal for the disposal? Okay, macam biasa, bila kita buat disposal, there are two accounts that you need to close. Satu ialah accumulated depreciation for the old machine. Okay, this is the old machine. You kira tadi nilai dia 15,000. Okay, 1. Alright, and then you need to close the old machine. So you credit machine 20,000 here. Okay, ini catatan asas untuk disposal. Dua ni mesti ada dulu. Okay, and then what else? I beli mesin baru. So mesin baru, that means saya akan debit 8,000 ringgit. And just now you calculated, you kena top up. You need to pay additional 4,000 in order to get the new asset. So saya akan credit cash 4,000 ringgit. Okay, so as you can see here, on the credit side, you have 24,000 ringgit. And on this debit side, you have 23,000 ringgit. Okay, so the missing amount is actually 1,000 ringgit on the debit side. So this is actually your loss on disposal. Okay, so you can see here, catatan paling asas untuk disposal. Satu, tutup account accumulated depreciation for the all asset amount 15,000, and then tutup account asset lama. Itu disposal, asset lama dah dijual. Tapi during the disposal, semasa disposal, apa yang berlaku? Semasa disposal, saya juga kena bayar aset baru dan saya juga beli aset baru. That is why I have debit machine and I have credit cash here. Okay, so we need to do the generalization in serentak, okay, in one catatan here. Okay, because the transaction happens at once. Dia berlaku serentak bersama-sama. Okay, so in this catatan journal, in this journal, actually you have two events going on. Satu, dispose aset lama. Second one, beli aset baru. Okay, and this is what we call as trade-in. Okay, okay. We look at the next question. Okay, let's say Syarikat Ronald, he wants to trade in the machine on the same date, okay, still 31st December of 2010, okay, and the cost of the new machine is 10,000. Okay, aset baru harga 10,000 ringgit. Okay, aset lama harga 20,000. So if I were to close the old asset, okay, the amount that will be credited is 20,000. Okay, okay, dia dah bagi depreciation 1 year is 5,000. Okay, and to the date of the disposal, dia punya depreciation is 16,000. Dia dah bagi siap-siap. So maksudnya semasa I nak tutup accumulated depreciation on the 31st of December 2010, if I were to close the accumulated depreciation account, I will debit accumulated depreciation with the amount of 16,000. Okay, semasa I nak jual mesin lama to get the new machine, okay, the trade-in value I receive for the old machine is 5,500. Okay, you kena ingat duit tak terima tau. Ini cuma nilai yang penjual aset baru tu ambil aset lama saya. So that means dia akan mengurangkan nilai aset baru yang saya nak bayar. Alright? Okay. So I need to calculate whether I'm getting a loss or gain. Okay. My trade-in value, as you can see here, is 5,500. Okay, this is my trade-in value. Okay, this one, yang ni, trade-in value. Okay. Okay, and then your book value, how much? Okay, book value is all asset is 20,000, 20,000 minus accumulated depreciation, this one, this amount. Okay, so it's 5,500 minus how much? Minus 4,000. So the difference is 1,500. This is gain on disposal. So how much actually I need to top up? Berapa duit yang madam kena tambah to get the new machine? Okay. Alright, so we need to calculate the cash paid. Okay, to calculate the cash paid, okay, you must minus the cost of new asset, aset baru harga 10,000 minus trade-in value. Okay, so trade-in value tu will reduce the amount that I need to pay. Okay, so cash paid yang madam perlu bayar in order to get the new asset is 4,500. Okay, okay, so the disposal date is 31st of December 2020. Ini tarikh disposal. Okay, tarikh kita trade in asset. So awak kena ingat for the year 2020, because the question is silent, so that means we are using monthly basis. So bila monthly basis, that means I kena update the depreciation expense until the day of the disposal. So untuk tahun 2020, this is 2010. Okay, so untuk tahun 2010, there is no adjustment done. Belum buat adjusting entries lagi. So bila belum buat adjusting entries lagi, before you close the account, you need to adjust the amount for the depreciation expense first. So kita tahu 1 tahun tadi depreciation dia ialah 5,000. So before I dispose the asset, I kena update dulu the depreciation expense for 1 year. That is for the year 2010. Kenapa tak catat untuk tahun sebelum tu? Tak perlu. Because kita faham bila kita dah masuk 2010, that means semua catatan untuk tahun yang terawal telah pun dibuat. Okay, so for this question kita akan debit dulu the depreciation expense, and we will credit the accumulated depreciation for the asset. Okay, so the first journal will be debit depreciation expense, okay, and credit accumulated depreciation. Okay, the amount here is 5,000 as well, because that is the depreciation for 1 year. Kenapa tak cari berapa bulan? Tak perlu, because disposal date ialah 31 hari bulan. That means you guna asset tu setahun. Okay, 1 full year. Alright. Okay, so for 2010, okay, December 31st. Okay, we will first, okay, generalize the depreciation expense for 2010. Dan only 5,000 ni akan masuk dalam accumulated depreciation. Baru kita boleh close the account. Okay, so now I need to dispose the asset. Okay, so catatan paling asas untuk disposal, satu, I need to close the accumulated depreciation account. So accumulated depreciation account is 16,000. Alright. Okay, so here is 16,000 lah. Okay, okay, and then I need to close the old asset. Okay, the old machine account. Okay, so madam akan credit here, credit machine 20,000. Okay, so that means you already close the account for 20,000 ringgit. Okay, alright, so how much you need to pay? You already calculated just now. I need to pay 4,500. So madam akan credit 4,500, bukan debit ya, because we are not selling the asset, we are trading in the asset. So this amount is I need to top up to get the new asset. Okay, so saya beli mesin baru, so I will debit, okay, 10,000 ringgit. So as you can see here on the debit side you have 26,000. Okay, alright, and then on the credit side you only have 24,500 ringgit. Okay, so to balance up the journal for the debit and credit side, okay, so we need to put 1,500 to top up to the amount. Okay, so it is on the credit side, so this is actually gain on disposal. Alright, so this is how you record the journal entry for disposal. Okay, alright, so this is for monthly basis. Okay, you must remember this is for monthly basis. Okay, apa beza kalau kita guna yearly basis? If you are using yearly basis, that means on the year of the disposal, maknanya kalau kata I dispose the asset on 2010, that year there is no depreciation expense. So ini, catatan ini memang tidak ada. Okay, you must remember that. If I am using yearly, okay, yearly, the year of the disposal tidak ada depreciation expense. Okay, so the asset won't be depreciated on the year 2010. So kalau guna yearly, catatan ini, the first catatan tak ada. We only have the disposal entry. Tapi why do I have this entry? Because I'm using monthly. Monthly is very detailed. you kena kira depreciation sehingga tarikh you jual. So I jual between 16 to 31st. That means the asset is depreciated from January until December. And we need to record the depreciation expense for the current year first. Then only you can journalize the disposal of the asset. Okay? All right. Thank you.